welcome back to the story, the part of the Derverse, episode 2, the Derverse timeline, 2020. Wait, November 8th, 2018. And I'm Dishpolan, of course, and here we are doing another part in that episode. And I gotta get in my nice storytelling voice. And yes, last part was 31 minutes. It could be worse. I'm proud of myself for 31 minutes. But anyway, so let's continue with the next event. 2020 involves Green and Blue, integrated suited exoskeleton, also known as power armor. Yes, and 2020 is when the first power armor of the Derverse was made. The lightning clap, the lightning clap power armor. And it was Type D because I call all my personal stuff Type D. Think of it like Star Trek's NX for all the prototype enterprises. I mean prototype ships, totally not prototype enterprises. But anyway, um, so yeah, and that's pretty much it for that. My power armor, by the way, I guess it should describe my power armor. My power armor is realistic. It's not Iron Man. Iron Man is in a league of his own. I guess I would call that superhero power armor. You see his power armor, and the only thing that's not Iron Man, I can immediately point to and say would be Saints Row. Saints Row's power armor is Iron Man's power armor. Iron Man's the Saints Row, pretty much. Superman has insanely overpowered power armor that doesn't make much sense. Especially since he originally made it in the 60s when the comic book came out in like the 80s or something like that. I forgot. By the way, at least in the original universe for that, yeah, timeline. And then you got also and you got clunky power armor, also known as what Space Marines wear. Because in everything I see them in all the video games, the power armor is clunky. I hear it's like insanely maneuverable and fast and stuff, but when did they ever show it in the video game? I go by Halo logic. If the video game doesn't show it, then it makes no sense. But then again, with Warhammer 40k, you go by tabletop because that's the main game, and the tabletop makes absolutely no sense to the universe. So yeah, my logic is completely flawed, but forgive me. It is who I am. But still, at least in the video games, the power armor is extremely clunky. What else is clunky power armor? Fallout. Fallout's power armor is extremely clunky, which for them it's a design feature because it's power armor made by people who just now understand what microprocessor is, who are just now understanding 80s computer technology, and no nuclear stuff beyond what we know because they can make nuclear basically they can make nuclear I actually don't know. I don't know those batteries, but really large D batteries, pretty much. Um, so yeah, and then my power armor is Spartan armor. Is Mulligan armor, Spartan armor from Halo, just not nearly as maneuverable. It's close, but yeah. So basically, my power armor is more on the clunkier side, but also it's in between Halo and Fallout. I guess Halo and Space Marine. Because Space Marine's not clunky in terms of controls, it's just clunky in terms of design. Because forgive them, they designed it in the 80s. They knew nothing then. They had to redesign it in 2018, and they put finished Space Marines in it just to top off the cake, I guess. So yeah, and what makes my power armor special in all those universe don't have, exception maybe Halo, especially with Halo 4 and above, is modularity. Pretty much my power armor is based on a bodysuit. The bodysuit is what the integrated suit or exoskeleton is, which contains your life support systems, your computer, and more importantly, your exoskeleton. So instead of basically building exoskeleton more to the armor, or outside of it and just building armor around it, which is what modern designs are actually going for. You see them in modern Hollywood movies and games like The Surge. My power armor is actually built into the suit, so my suit's really thick, Think a Apollo spacesuit but thinner. And what you do is you put the plates on top of it using like connectors at certain spots, like connectors and like certain segments. Where you put the suit on, you get the different plates, which pretty much goes with the entire design flaw and would have cut out a scene, which would cut out a much beloved scene, um, in Halo 2, which is John swapping out armor. If John was wearing lightning clap armor, he would have just swapped out the plates. I mean, he would just swap out basically what John would have done was swapped out the plates. Like, basically, instead of relying on shields in the first game, you rely on shields and swapping out the plates instead of having to die every time you get shot by. Instead of having to medkit yourself every time you get shot, because what's the point of having power armor if it doesn't bounce bullets like nothing? Because my power armor would basically bounce and absorb shots, like modern armor plus tank. Um, and then once the armor is depleted, and then once the armor is been enough depleted, pretty much gone, you would take it off and swap it with another set, which would work great for a classic FPS, like for example, Command and Conquer Renegade, Wolfenstein, stuff like that. Which is type of FPS I want to make, where pretty much you'll have different health systems. Like for example, with power armor, if you have shields, but you got the swappable plates. And then for example, if you're wearing semi power armor, you have the swappable plates, but the weaker than full on power armor. And then if you're wearing modern-esque armor, you would just have this one big plate instead of having the multiple segments. Because what's cool about my power armor is there's segments across the chest, the ribs, the stomach, and then like the lower stomach, and then the chest plate is where things get interesting in terms of design. And it's just especially for feminine versions because yeah, putting like an inch of armor, yeah, armor. I'll go with the armor. I'll go with armor rounding and shaping and angling very much. I'll still provide male armor just extended in like this gigantic pyramid on your torso if you really want it that way. But that's more heavy armor than recon. But regardless, that getting into specifics of how the plates connect, at least in my mind, which I've only drawn it seldomly. I haven't really drawn it yet, but you get the idea. But then you got plate. You basically got plates on your forward thigh, back thigh, forward shin, back shin, calf. And you get independent boots, gloves, for up, down forearm, up, down, upper arm on both sides. And then the plates can be swapped out. Like for example, I have on my leg, I have a holster. And then all power armor is backpacks of varying sizes. The backpacks contain your computer, contain your infinite hydrogen generator. Which, oh, I forgot something on the timeline. I don't know when I invented that. 2020? Question mark. It needs to actually. Yeah, 2020 is a good place for it. I don't have room. But 2020 is a good place for it to put it on the put it on the timeline. Let me see what that looks like in PowerPoint. Okay, so bam, I need to do this, and this is 9. If you actually want to if you want for your own, like Story, or Derverse series, I will be uploading this file eventually on DeviantArt. So yeah, I'll stay tuned for that when it's more complete. I mean, this is actually pretty much done because I ran out of room, but still. So, 2020 event, or not event, but G and B N Fin 8 high. Wait, how's the high? Hydrogen engine. Wow, I messed up on infinite. I fail. And I'll figure out the proper spelling later. I'm on camera. But yeah, that's how you add to the timeline, by the way. I don't have space. I guess you can move over because you're not even part of the timeline. You're before. The reason why this comes before, because originally in my head that's what it came before when I was thinking the prequel stories. Cause how it worked. Now going to some more lore of the timeline itself. There you go. That's weird. But it works. So going to the lore of the timeline itself, pretty much the original era was golden era. Next was space, because I wanted to fly around in the GBS Durster. Never had a destination before. Now it's necessary. But in the Durster, with my crew, fly around the universe. Some time travel shenanigans because I'm using a wormhole. Things get weird sometimes when you forget. When you totally don't turn on a setting, which is a flaw in the drive, which you fixed a long time ago, but now you made it into a feature because who doesn't want to travel time, in space and just go into separate realities? Like, oh, I want to go into the Halo universe. How do I do that? Oh, flip it, and flip it, go into the Halo universe. Yeah. So it makes doing crossover stuff really easy. More people should try that. But anyway. Um. Well, anyway, so these two are first, then the fall. I got the fall in the series of dreams actually. So yeah, basically over the course of a summer, I got when I was not even a teenager yet. I got a series. I had a series of dreams in which the fall happened. Pretty much, I dropped out of a teleporter, found myself in a dystopian-esque world where everyone was locked in big domes, and I saved the day. And then and then everything I didn't tell you is massive spoilers. You see massive spoilers. Um, but it's like the fall is the thing I most had problems with showing in this form. It's because of how good that dream was, and I wanted to basically share it in the form of a TV show or movies, um, or its own stories. But that's not gonna happen right now. So yeah. So and besides, think about it this way: how many people, how many people watch Ruby actually understand a quarter of it because they never watched Rooster Teeth before and never will? So if I when I do a fall series or do fall stories, which I'm going to start doing independent story episodes, like in a different playlist. Like this will be more like behind the scenes or something like that. I'll do like a stories playlist in which I tell stories, like for example of the fall, in a more cinematic sense, in a more storytelling sense, because I actually know how to do that now. So I'll do that. I'll do that. Um, and and basically, don't come here if you want to see. Don't come here if you're watching this in the future. Don't come here if you want spoilers. However, if you're watching it in the present, do come here so you get an idea of what's to come, and hopefully you'll forget about it by the time it shows up. Because an excellent part of storytelling, for example, Halo Reach, is making you forget the events of the thing you're doing. Like for example, I will make you forget about the fall from what you learned here in this video when you actually watch the series, or at least I hope so. Like for example, when you were playing Halo Reach, you forgot the events of the fall of Reach, the novel, and forget what happens to Reach during gameplay. Even though it's an ever present thing, you forget about it. Like you think you can save Reach. Oh no, you can't. Trust me, I tried. Me and my friend could actually beat off. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give a nice good number of 6 waves of the Sankili generals with concussion rifles, which will give you nothing but them and spam them. Yeah, we can beat up like 6 of those waves. More than enough to go jack a Wraith in the background and come back and kill them all, or hijack a Banshee somehow magically. I mean, they drop enough bullets with pistols. I can do that. And then with the Banshee, you hijack a Phantom. With the Phantom, you hijack a Cruiser. With the Cruiser, you go hijack your stuff carrier. And just with the Cruiser, you just get out of there at that point. Actually, you do the Phantom. Phantoms have space drives. Actually, no, they don't. No, they really don't. It's not Star Trek. You get in the Phantom, you hijack a carrier, then you get out. It's that simple. Um, which I wanted to do that really badly, like do Machinima. I guess I can make that into a story now that I think about it, like a fan fiction of how Halo Reach is unrealistic, how I would do these certain things in this order cinematically, or telling a story, stuff like that. I could try one of those videos, but anyway. All right, back to what we were doing. What we were doing? Oh yeah, the infinite. Oh, well, I mean, going back in time, the infinite hydrogen engine. What it is pretty much it's a hydrogen fuel cell and hydrogen something or other, whatever you call the thing that separates hydrogen from air and or water. So pretty much the power armor has vents on it and a water tank. So you pour water in, it can separate it on its own time to generate more power, or it can just pull in air. Which the problem with hydrogen is it's hyper expensive, or at least it was when I first formulated this idea a decade ago, if not more. Um, so yeah, by this time, and with the help of CS, which I would have met in, let's say, 2018, which I get another thing to put on the timeline. But in 2018 meets CS, he's my chief scientist. He is awesome. I am the ideas sales leader man. He is the scientist engineer dude. He is my Einstein from Red Alert. He is that guy. By the way, and then moving on to another event. 2021 Der Watch Green and Blue event. Or it's labeled. I gotta figure out how to say that. Watch, the first real AI is born. Watch, which Watch is actually one of my earliest, as in I don't even remember how young I could have been with Watch. When I first thought of Watch, because Watch's name, his acronym is Watching Autonomous Tactical Combat Helper, but that's just official shenanigans because apparently you can't have fun names like he's on my wrist, he is Watch. Because I have it around in my original watch, which is like this old piping part, which my grandpa is good at, construction and gardening. Um, like he made himself a two code, if not better, train building in the back, which train building is what he puts our modern train set in, and his workshop, which is also a pool house. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just a gray thing, which I don't know what it is, but I just represented Watch on my wrist. Watch is of course based on Eva from Command and Conquer, and that thing on my wrist is based off of that one, like that 3 second cutscene in the beginning of Command and Conquer Renegade, when he sees the hand of Nod, and it's the command it's the EA logo, if I remember correctly. Um, yeah, that. And also, I mean, he uses it on his wrist the entire game, but like that's the one thing that got me. And then Watch is a blown up version of that. And then yeah, a year ago he was born in real life as a god. Yeah, I can do that. But anyway, so yeah, now moving on. But of course, Watch and Derverse is a normal AI. He is not a divine AI person. Um, so yeah. Okay, moving on to the Royal Mach 2 Hypersonic Fighter. It's it's straight up from Monolith Hunter. That's what it's straight up from. There is no there's no it's a childhood thing. It's from my working life. I mean, childhood. I mean, if you're using the extremely gross, loose term of child, which is age 0 beyond probably to age 18, then yes, I was a child then. I'm in the middle of 2012. When did I turn 18? But when did I turn 18? Anyway, I was born in 1995, at 5 to everything. So 18 and 2012, 5, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I actually would have been 18 that year. But yeah, I don't know. What do I know? I can be bad math when rushed. Um, like I can do it in my head. It takes me a couple iterations, and maybe looking at it, maybe looking at numbers. By the way, so yeah, it the roll. It's the Raw Mach 2. The Raw Mach 2 goes Mach 5. It's a fighter, so it's maneuverable. It can go Mach 5. Cruising anyway. Cruising can go Mach 5. Like a normal, like a combat speed would be Mach 1, 1 or 2. At sea level, and then at Mach 5 it goes, in the stratosphere. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It has a range of a third of Earth. Basically, whatever its stats are in Kerbal Space Program, which I never really tested it that much, not like the later Auroras. And I can't test it now because it's broken in the release. I built it in the late alpha. I just need to have a late alpha version of Kerbal Space Program just so I can have my Aurora back. Like it lasted through the alpha, which was a long period, through the beta, which was a short period, and like the first three patches of the first release, all with just simple version updates. Like it was in D, like the latest version is D, and it's complete. It's a complete. It's almost an entirely new plane. It kind of is an entirely new plane, but that's besides the point. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. And I haven't shown that on footage yet because I haven't had time to. Mostly because people don't watch Girl Space Room stuff. Well, the people don't watch my Girl Space Room stuff, so I can't really show it. But anyway, okay, this is actually a good space to end it. So yeah, that'd be it for this part. Thanks for watching, and I guess see you. And in the next part, we'll start moving towards the main bits of my childhood. Alright, so that'd be it for this video. I mean, that'd be it for this part. Thanks for watching, and I guess see you. Instant.